Kia ora, good evening. A 2-year-old boy died on a farm near Gore late yesterday afternoon. The toddler, Charles Unwin of Mandeville, was being looked after by an adult family member when he wandered off. He was discovered a short time later drowned in a flooded dump hole. The rubbish hole, located a short distance from the house across a driveway, was not fenced off. Police and Department of Labour staff have completed an examination of that hole that had filled with water from recent rain, and the matter has been referred to the coroner. The Reserve Bank has again left the official cash rate unchanged at 2.5%, and it's likely to stay there for the rest of 2013. The official cash rate, which influences New Zealand's market interest rates, has sat unchanged for more than 2 years. In today's announcement, Reserve Bank Governor Graham Wheeler says global outlook remains mixed, although global financial sentiment is buoyant and medium-term outlook for New Zealand's main trading partners remains firm. Mr Wheeler says growth in the domestic economy is picking up but remains uneven, and the Reserve Bank doesn't want it to see financial or price stability compromised by housing demand. It's expected the OCR will remain unchanged through to the rest of the year. New Zealand's housing market hit a 6-year high for the month of May, rising 7.5% on a year ago. Residential property sales continued to grow in May, with data from the Real Estate Institute of New Zealand showing the number of sales was the highest for the month of May since 2007. In Southland, sales volumes were up 3.7% on a year ago, with a rise in Invercargill and figures flat in Gore. REINZ Chief Executive Helen O'Sullivan says Southland is continuing to be impacted by uncertainty around the future of the Tiwai Point aluminium smelter. A wind energy trial is currently underway on Stewart Island, one of several potential energy sources under investigation on the island. Sarah Bedford spoke to Venture South and Enterprise Projects Manager Robin McNeil about the work.
So we've just recently let some tenders to Massey University to do wind modelling, and also for Energy Cube to put up a wind mast depending on what the modelling is. We got off to a bit of a slow start. We went to tender because we knew there was quite a bit of interest. We were a bit astounded to find 19 very solid bids from all over the world, from Europe, from Australia, from New Zealand, and that took quite a lot of work to get through, I have to say. But we're pretty happy we've got the best people involved, and there's a modeller in Massey University this very minute, busy working out the best things to do, and he will have some results mid-July, and based on that we'll have a on-site meeting over in Stewart Island and confirm with the Energy Cube where to put a wind measurement tower.
Now, that's not the only energy trial happening over on the island. Can you tell me about what's happening in terms of the other ones?
Right, now that's the only one that's going to be physically happening right now, but at the moment we've got Canterbury University looking at the solar potential on Stewart Island. We tend to think in the Southland here we don't get much sunshine, but I was pretty interested to discover last year when I was in Bornholm Island and in the Baltic Sea that we actually get twice as much. We get more than twice as much sunshine hours each year than they do in Copenhagen or in Bornholm, and they're mandating by government law to have 10% solar. And the other area that's of great interest to Stewart Island is in February, one of the researchers from Canterbury University and myself spent some time looking at the hydro feasibility up in the national park itself. The streams aren't huge there, but there's a big drop, 300 metres, so there's quite a lot of energy available. We think we've come up with a low environmental impact solution. What we're now doing is, we've got some results from that look encouraging, not definitive, and we've now got some work done by Dr. Hamish Laird in Christchurch, looking at some modelling of what would be typical costs to put some Pelton wheels and a transmission line back to the main grid.
Now, if one of these energy sources proves to be viable, how long before we could actually see it providing energy on the island?
Yeah, well, there is enough there, and I suspect in the end it might be a mix, and we'd expect we need to get a decent database. I'd say a year's worth of data collection, unless there's something rather really jumping out at us before then. I'd say a year, and then we could start going to tender there for a solution. but we've got a few cunning ideas. I've worked in remote areas on small budgets before, and with a bit of imagination you can sometimes do things that don't work elsewhere. So I'm optimistic.
Stay with us. Still to come, we hit the snowy slopes at Queenstown's Coronet Peak. Welcome back. Milford Road is still closed and it's not yet known when it will reopen. The New Zealand Transport Agency says weather has hampered efforts to reduce rockfalls in the area. The road's been closed since May 23rd due to unstable rock posing a safety risk. NZTA is removing a 2,000-tonne section of unstable rock above the Homer Tunnel. Since the road closed, there have been 14 days when no work could take place due to inclement weather. Southland Area Manager Peter Robinson says the focus is on the first blast of rock, and NZTA is waiting for fine weather, which could be later this week. He says how much further work is needed and how long that might take depends on the success of the blast. Thousands of snowboarders and skiers have already hit the slopes near Queenstown during the first week of Coronet Peak's open ski season. Not all lifts are operating, but it hasn't stopped enthusiasts from carving up the fresh winter snow. The first ski field in Australasia is now open, and according to Ski Area Manager Ross Copeland, the season's off to a great start. He says at Coronet Peak they're working to a conservative budget and are already well ahead.
For opening weekend we had just under 4,000, which is a great result. It's about 38% up on last year, so looking good. I'd like to think that we can hit the late 200 to 300,000 mark for the season.
Getting the jump on the other ski fields in the area, Coronet Peak has the largest number of snow guns in the southern hemisphere, supplementing what falls naturally.
It's a great bonus for Coronet Peak, and it allows us to get through those periods where there's a gap in the natural snowfall. So that's something that gives us that consistency and the reliability in a poor snow season.
He says so far there's a good mix of boarders and traditional ski enthusiasts hitting the slopes.
There are a lot of boarders out there enjoying it, and the conditions are good for both. That's the great thing about Coronet Peak. You can find a run that suits whatever your ability or your interest as far as skiing or boarding.
But says it's Queenstown's winter festival that really brings the mountain to life, with plenty on offer for spectators and those on the snow.
We've got night skiing starting, first track starts soon after that, so it's when the mountain really comes alive. We've got a lot of activities up here for Winter Festival, the Speight's Dog Derby, we've got the mountain bikers again and the suitcase race, so there's a lot of excitement around that time.
Our Trans-Tasman neighbours are making the most of direct flights, creating plenty of work at Queenstown Airport, according to CEO Scott Patterson.
We call it our winter schedule, and 21 June, that's just go, go, go. And every weekend in every weekend in July and every weekend in August, we're just going to be flat out.
He says a collective marketing effort is paying off with plenty of interest from travellers wanting to hit the slopes.
So New Zealand Ski in particular, very good at promoting this region. They bundle up packages, destination Queenstown go offshore into the Australian market and promote. So I believe they've been promoting as early as February this year to come skiing now.
The large Australian market is providing steady business for retailers and tourism operators, according to Thomas Bro of Happy Travels.
Jetstar's just opened up the flights from Sydney straight into Queenstown, so I can definitely see a lot of people coming over this winter. We've had a very early dump this year, which would be very, very good, because that sort of makes sure that the Aussies can see it. Obviously, there's a huge marketing going on, which is really good. So yeah, I can see the winter season being very busy this year.
And says offering Australians package deals adds convenience to their travel plans.
Clothes to like ski rental, board rental, they can get lessons up there. Transport's very easy as well. You've got shuttles going up there, back every day. So again, because it's so easy, I can definitely see a lot of Aussies being very interested in it. And each year it just progresses in terms of easiness.
The Remarkables, Cadrona and Treble Cone are all set to open by the end of the month. Margot Sutherland, South Today News. A year ago, Greymouth Petroleum underwent oil and gas exploration off the coast of Stewart Island, but 12 months on and the results of the test drill are still unknown. Environment Southland says Greymouth Petroleum currently has 3 consents lodged for land, air and water, which is set to expire next month. Southland District Council confirmed no further drilling consent applications exist, and Stewart Island resident Councillor Bruce Ford says there's been no feedback from the company. Greymouth Petroleum holds an exploration permit covering seas east of Stewart Island and a small western edge of land in the Great South Basin. Despite several attempts to contact Greymouth Petroleum for comment, they have not returned our calls. Funding for the inaugural Auckland to Bluff yacht race scheduled for February next year has been secured, with Invercargill City Council fronting the remaining $180,000 required. That's on top of the $100,000 already committed by Council. I asked people on the streets of Invercargill today for their thoughts on ICC funding the majority of Southland's contribution for the A to B yacht race.
I think it could go on something better. Health, midwifery, schools, anything. Not yacht races.
I said yes, because it brings a lot into Invercargill.
What sort of things do you think it's going to bring?
A lot of people from other places will come down and see it.
I think probably it's a worthwhile, spectacular event, but I think I could think of other things that could be well spent in a better way, personally.
No, don't think they should. No, don't.
Why don't you agree with that?
Well, I think there's lots of other things that they could donate the money to rather than for the rich yacht people.
I don't think it's a good idea.
Why not?
It won't give the whole community in Southland any benefit.
You don't believe there'll be any benefit with people coming through spending money?
Probably not to Invercargill. No, they'll probably head to Queenstown for their relaxation, and they certainly won't stay in Bluff.
I think that it'll be great for Invercargill to have some more people through it. Like the World Cup, we got so many more people through Invercargill, and a lot more people knew that Invercargill existed. So why not?
Yeah, I reckon that's good. Yep.
I reckon it's a waste of money. Utterly, cancel the race entirely.
What would you rather see the money spent on?
I don't know. Must be something better.
And that's it from the news desk this Thursday. Coming up on sport, more from the National Division 2 Swimming Championships. From the news team, good night.